Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to review a nail polish brand called Madam Glam. And I am so excited about this because I was kindly sent these over, and you guys know I love painting my nails, especially now that I'm like over the regular polish and now I'm venturing into gel polish. And Madam Glam is actually a gel polish brand based in New York, and the fact they sent it to Sydney, I'm like, thank you guys so much, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. I do have these on my nails and we're going to do a full in-depth review about them. So how this review is going to work, I'm actually going to split it into quite a few different sections. First is I'm going to show you the application of these nail polishes, because as mentioned, they are currently on my nails and I actually filmed the process of me applying it. So I'm going to go through and show you guys how I put these onto my nails, and then I'm going to talk about my initial review and initial thoughts, and followed by that I'm going to wait for these to grow out for a week and a half ish, and then we're going to come back, do a review, and then remove it together and then do a final check-in. So it's going to be really in-depth. So without further ado, let's have a look at how I applied it. I'm so sorry and I apologize in advance, the lighting sucks because I did it at night last night, and obviously there's no sunlight, and also I don't want to apply gel nails during sunlight time because UV wouldn't like harden the nails. Anyway, I'm not an expert, as you guys can probably tell. I'm a home mani kind of person and I just love painting my nails. I'm experimenting different nail arts and things like that, but I'm still no expert. I'm still pretty much a newbie, and what I can say so far is these are very like beginner friendly, and yeah, after that we'll come back, I'll tell you my initial thoughts. To start with, I used the soak off base coat and prepped all my nails. You can see on the other hand I actually had my nails done already. I did it as a practice just so when I do it on camera it looks a little bit neater, and I would say this is definitely a thicker, more jelly-like texture, but definitely don't over apply like I did. I still found it a little bit difficult to balance how much to put on, so it did kind of go over the edge, but you can just use your fingers and literally scrape it off. No biggie, especially if you haven't cured it yet. And I would say the bristles are a nice length as well, and it's not too thick or thin, so it grabs the right amount of product. I also cured it in 2 different times just because I found that my hand just didn't fit into it, so I did the 4 fingers first and then my thumb separately, and you literally just press the button on top and it will do it for you. I think it was 60 seconds and you don't really have to put on a timer or anything, pretty easy to use. Now we get to the exciting part, which is actually putting some colors on our nails, and I'm using Glam Resolution first, which is actually the glitter formula. You can see there's definitely some glitter chunks and it looks really reflective, but definitely on the sheerer side upon first application. And as for all these, I'm going to do 2 layers, and you'll see that later. 2 layers, just enough. And this one again, very thick, almost like a Vaseline texture, but after a few strokes you can definitely get it to the texture and shape you want it to. Now you can see I'm applying Super Cat Eye Gel Polish, which I think is actually meant to be a top coat because you only need 1 stroke on top of an existing color, and then shine a magnet on it and it will get you that beautiful reflective tone. But I'm using it as like a pure silver color today, and it is just so galactic. It looks like the moon. It's so pretty, and it's definitely the thinnest texture out of all of them, and like a regular polish it was so easy to use. I loved it. The last colored polish we are testing out today is the shade Perfect White, which is a classic cream gel polish, and you can see it's definitely not the most opaque on the first go, but definitely will build up on the second coat. Now I just cured these under the lamp, and now I'm going to move on to the second coat, which is exactly the same as what we did earlier, and now you can see the color really builds up to something more intense and opaque, and I'm happy with all of these and how they look. I actually like how the glitter is still a little bit transparent as a base, because then you get to see the natural nails, and overall I'm just really happy with it. Last but not least, we are going to seal everything in with the top coat, and this top coat was super thick and glossy, but you can see the shine instantly, and I found like it was really easy to just drag along my nails, even though there was like glitter on the thumb, and I just found that it didn't really transfer the color either. It was just clear. It doesn't really rub off on whatever your base color was, which was really good. And as always, just cure it under the light. Now, my initial thoughts for these nails are that they are very beginner friendly to use, and what I love first of all is as soon as you put on top coat and cure it, it instantly becomes harder, and You guys know I've been using Enquiries for a while. I love those polishes to death. They're really good, but sometimes after you put on, it still feels a bit sticky, and I'm like, can I touch things? Like, can I do it? They're like that sticky residue, but this doesn't have it, and I love it. These are also very hard. Let me just get something. They're very hard, they're very secure, and as soon as I cure it, I feel like I can do things. I don't have to be worried about them like chipping immediately or they're like too wet. I think the finishes are also very, very shiny. They're very, very well done, and I chose 3 different formulas as well to try to get the most out of this brand, and so far I think they're all very high performing. Now, I did mention this earlier in like my application and my initial thoughts kind of voiceover, but yeah, I found it really weird how the base coat, once it cured, it was still like kind of wet, and then I put it on, so I was like, oh, I don't know if it's like working, but after I sealed it in with the top coat, it was fine. It was really great, and the bubbles were really easy to get rid of as well, so that's really nice. Sometimes I find it annoying that in my polishes there are these like air bubbles and you can't get it out and it just dries, it goes weird, but not an issue. This one really just dried it out. It is definitely a bit of a thicker formula as well, and because I'm not super experienced with gel polishes, I did find that these aren't super even and they look a little bit thick in some areas compared to others. I think it's just like a over time skill set situation, so the more you use it, the more better you'll get at applying these polishes, but they don't look bad from far away. I think they look fine. So yeah, definitely thicker than normal polishes, and it's easier to group up, so definitely scrape it, and I would recommend doing like 2 coats or like even 3 to get that opacity rather than like 1 thick coat. And another thing is I did find the UV light quite hot. I did feel my fingertips getting really hot towards like the end at like the top coat stage. I was like, oh, this is a bit hot and tingly, which wasn't the most comfortable feeling, but it might be also I just removed my regular polish a few days ago, so yeah, that's like a huge contributing factor as well. So probably give your nails a bit of a rest before you apply these polishes. Give it some breathing space as well. But so far, I really like it. I think it's doing good. After one night and like a few showers, nothing happened so far, and it does feel like it's very, very stable. So initial thoughts, I'm liking it. I just hope I get better at application. So I'll see you guys in a week's time and we will remove it together. The gel polish remover from Madam Glam themselves, and it comes just like a regular nail polish, and what you do is you want to lather a huge layer of this on top of your gel polish and it will remove by itself. And you can see it's quite grainy as a texture. It's almost like a jelly and Vaseline. It has these little bits in it, which I thought was such an interesting, almost gelatin like finish. But just pretend it's normal polish and lather it on like so. On the website, it did suggest to do a really, really thick layer so you cover every inch of it, and it is going to just remove your polish all at once. Now you can see for a thumb, I just applied it straight on, but now I'm actually filing my nails because it did say that you should file down the top coat at least, and that will make the removal process a lot easier. So for the rest of my fingers, I decided to use just a normal file and see if the effects are more different, if it's more effective, etc. Now you can see within the space of just a minute there are some changes in my polish. You can see on my thumb it even starts to look a little bit grainy, and it looks like it's peeling off almost like salt flakes, which I thought was so weird. That should be a top coat. And you can see on my white polish the side's already cracking up. The cat eye is also starting to pop off a little bit, so it's doing its removal. And what I found was really interesting is that it literally started cracking. Like you can see it on the screen, and it made this like slight little sizzling crackling sound, and it's just dry. It just comes off in little bits. It doesn't really like feel wet or anything. Like even when I touch it now, it feels dry and it's just slowly popping off. And yeah, it's the most unique, I guess, polish remover I've ever seen, and we're just gonna wait for it to do its thing. I got a little bit impatient and I used one of these metal scraper tools to kind of remove it to make it a little bit faster. I tried to, as gently as I could, and just remove it a little bit more, and you can see on my thumb, because I didn't scrape off the top coat, definitely that was what came off, but the actual base color did not, so I applied a little bit more of the remover onto my hands. And because I was scraping it with a metal tool and I went a little bit harder than I would have liked it to,
It did feel a little bit, again, warm on my fingertips when I apply the remover, but you can see the rest of it with the nail tool, it's coming off a lot faster. And again, I'm just like touching it and trying not to dig into my nails and just peeling off whatever I could, trying not to use too much force, but wherever I felt like, you know, there's still some very stubborn pieces, I went in with a little bit more remover, and we just repeat this process a few times, and you can see it literally creates so many remnants on my table. But I would say this is a pretty decent removal process.
So I actually wore them for a week and a half before I removed it because I accidentally chipped some of them and it just became really rough on the edges and it didn't look as nice as I wanted it to be. So I decided to remove it. I'm used to removing my polishes with one of those bottles of like liquids. You put it on like a cotton pad and you soak it on your nails, wrap it up and wait for like 5 minutes and then just take it off. But this was completely different. This was like another polish in itself. You could see that it actually just dissolved the product off by itself, and now that I think back about it, maybe I meant to put it on and like wrap some aluminum foil or something around it, and then that will actually help it soak better. But I just let it sit and it crackled off and did its thing. It was quite a weird sensation, like you could literally hear the polish like crack, and it was like, you know, removing itself. And it wasn't soft either. When I'm used to like removing my polishes, they all become like a bit soft and wrinkly, but this one, it was like hard. It was like bits and pieces of the gel and almost like acrylics. It felt really interesting. Like the fact that it was hard made it something that I felt like was an interesting experience. It removed the polish really nicely. I would just say I did get like my nail scraper tool. Let me just get it out, and whatever was remaining I just like gently nudged it off, and if I felt like I had some more remnants I just put on another thin coat over it. It was also quite grainy as you saw from the video, so I thought that was quite interesting, but did the job and I was really happy with it. I thought it was really good, and overall, the removal process was really simple and easy. And my nails, I did accidentally scrape a little bit too hard with my nail tool and I like took out chunks of my nails. You could see from the video it looked a bit dry, but I think that was 100% my fault. And I don't like to put on nail oil when I have polishes on, which I think is a bad thing. I'm just scared it'll remove the polish, but in the future, I'll probably work on hydrating and moisturizing my nails a little bit more to keep it more healthy. Because I got to try 3 different formulas and finishes, I think I have a lot to say about the brand. So first of all, let's talk about the normal cream white polish. This is your most standard like nail polish. It's just shiny and it's an opaque color. This is definitely opaque. I would say in general, all these polishes are on the thicker side, so it's something I wasn't used to. And it was a bit hard to get used to like the texture and me smoothing out to get a clear base at first. But I feel like with time, this will be something that's really simple. And honestly, because it's so opaque, it just looks more professionally done, but you definitely need to do thin coats rather than one goopy coat. And I want to talk about this glitter polish. It's really, really pretty and it's a lot smoother than I expected. Obviously, it was a bit chunky going on, but once you kind of cure it, everything's just like a smooth base and it felt really, really nice. Really like the color payoff. This actually didn't chip off in pieces like I expected, because I thought in like glitter particles it would like chip off by the glitter, but this actually stayed really, really nicely, and I'm really happy with the formula and finish of this one. I think they're all 12 mils. No, this one's 15 mils, whereas this is 12 mils. So you get a little bit less with the glitter, but this is really cool because I saw that this was made in Korea. But yeah, I like this one. I think this one's really pretty for like an accent nail. And last but not least, the Super Cat Eye Gel Polish was the one that really wowed me. It's the first time I used a cat eye gel polish, and I know this is really, really popular, especially in Asian makeup and beauty spaces, not makeup, nail polish. But I think this will be really cool as just like a top coat as well. This is what a lot of people use it for. I used it as 2 coats by itself to make that kind of grey, almost moonstone look. But you can definitely put this over a single color and then use your magnet to make the desired shape. So for example, I can probably put this over these nails and it'll create kind of like this red velvet finish. So I really want to try that next. So keep an eye out for future videos. I'll probably talk about it, but this was such a cool polish and the magnetic effect was so incredible. Even just like one layer, you could see it and it was so obvious. I really like the finish on it. I think it's a really cool polish and formula, and I think if you were to try anything, the cat eye formulas is something you want to look out for. They're more special. Now the base coat, when I first put it on, I was like, why is this not drying? I am so worried about it, but hey, it did a great job of prepping my nails. There was no staining at all. You can see from my after video, I had no stains on my nails, so that was incredible. Sometimes I do get stains from darker colors, and that was really good for preventing it. And I do want to give a huge shout out to the top coat. The top coat did an amazing job. It just sealed everything in, and my nails felt like really hardened and protected, and it felt like there was a protective layer on top of it, and it just did a great job of giving shine and just overall protection to my manicure. I think this is a great top coat. The lamp itself was also really nice. It was cute and small, so it's really portable. Let me just show you guys. And you can just chuck it into like a USB cable, so you can use it with your like laptop or whatever. It's really simple. It's really easy to use. So you could just do that. Very tiny. You have your light on the inside, and you just literally press this button and it will work. I think this is a really nice little LED lamp. One thing I did notice was that my nails felt really hot after around like the third layer. So I have my base coat, I cure it, my first layer of color, cure it, and then my second like base color. That's when it started to feel a bit hot on my nails. It wasn't like anything super intense, but it was like a tingling sensation. So that probably means that my nails are a bit weaker. And just something to keep in mind as well. By the time it was a top coat, I could definitely feel a little bit more of the heat. So I kind of like gave my nails like a bit of like a 5-minute refresher, did my thing, and then back to curing, and then it was fine. The tingling sensation wasn't really too strong there, but that's something I wanted to keep in mind. But overall, I'm really happy with these products, and for the price, they do deliver really great results. You can definitely wear it for like 2-3 weeks easily if you don't go ahead and like pick them. Because it was the first time I used it, I must say there were like remnants of like the base and top coat on like my cuticle, so I was like picking at it all the time. And because I did a really horrible job on one of like some of my nails, they weren't really like thin and they were like kind of bulky. I kept on just like playing with it. So don't do that if you wanted to keep it for a long time. But I do think these were great polishes and I really enjoyed them, so I would highly recommend. And again, thank you Madam Glam for sending these over. But regardless of whether you sent it or not, my review will be unbiased. Well, they're a little bit biased because I chose colors I really liked, but I do think they are a great brand to try, especially if you want to look for something that is vegan and cruelty free and just overall at a great price point. So this manicure set will probably cost you the amount to get one set of nails, so I think it's a great investment and it's really fun. Just like painting your nails one day at home at night, it's like a treat yourself kind of relaxing situation. But that's it for today's video. Please let me know down below if you have any questions or you want to try out this brand or any other recommendations of nail polishes in general. I would love to hear that. And if you did like today's video, please give it a thumbs up or even subscribe to my channel and let me know down below what you would like to see next. See you guys for the next video.